All right, welcome back to Jacked Up, August 6, 2024. Special guest, assistant GM, play-by-play voice of the Washington Wild Things, good friend Kyle Dawson with us. Kyle, you guys are having quite the fun summer, 49-22. The Wild Things are on the season. How much fun have you? I mean, that's the first question I have for you. How much fun has this run been for you personally?
It's certainly a lot easier when the team is playing well to work the 60 to 80-hour weeks, whatever it ends up being at times. Crowds have been really good of late. We're obviously hoping that we get a lot more from what's on the field product that's happening right now. But having good crowds and having good baseball is certainly makes the job easier. It is a lot of fun. You're right.
Yeah, 8-game winning streak heading into tonight's 3-game series at home. Talk about the last 8 games. I mean, what has really worked for the Wild Things on the field? Outscoring the opponent 45-18 in those 8 games. It's just I'd have to imagine a lot of offense, but the pitching as well has been pretty darn good as well.
The pitching's been nuts all year long. We've got statistically the best pitching staff in the Frontier League, tops in ERA. Runs, earned runs. We're up there, top 5 in strikeouts. We don't walk anybody, which is obviously a huge piece of the puzzle. I think it's top 3 or 3rd and something like that. And hits allowed, fewest hits allowed in the league. So the pitching staff has been great, really, ever since the turn to July. And not that they haven't been good all year, but I think it's something like they've won 15 or 16 of their last 17 decisions or something like that. The starting pitching, that is, which obviously is going to help your cause going into baseball games. But the offense had a real good month of July. That's continued a little bit here into the month of August and the few games that we've played. And I think just in terms of the last 8 games, really everything's being added together. We've won in a couple different ways. Had a walk-off winner on Friday. Won a couple games coming back from trailing in Joliet and on the road, and just trying to find different ways to win. And when you have a real good ball club, typically that is what's going to happen, is they're going to find ways to win games. Maybe they don't belong in the win column.
Yeah, you talked about Friday, 5-4 against Sussex County, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. All 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Yep.
You talk about having fun. That had to be an absolute blast to be able to call
for. It was kind of wild. So I know if anyone that's listening to the podcast here, maybe it was tuned into our broadcast. We top of the 9th, we were killing them. I mean, this is a dud. We had just come back from a 3-game sweep in Joliet, and granted, the team got back at 7 a.m, so that's a challenging flip to have to play 12 hours later. Not that Sussex County had any worse of a travel day, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. We were crushing them a little bit in the top half of the 9th inning. When I came back on here, I just said, "Listen, this is a dud. It happens." But then I said at the beginning of the bottom of the 9th, I'm like, "This is why they give you 27 outs. You can get a couple base runners here and there." This is a good lineup. Maybe something can happen. Sure enough, we got the leadoff walk for Jalen Miller. Forget who it was. Had a base hit Wagner, maybe up the middle. That Jalen went to 3rd on, hit a 3-run homer, Tyreek Reed, to make it a 1-run game. And all of a sudden, we're buzzing a little bit, and there's nobody out still. So that was an interesting 9th inning. I don't know that I can recall one since 2018, since I've been in the booth. At least it's been that much fun in the bottom of the 9th inning. And that was only our 2nd walk-off home run since I've taken over in the booth, and since I've been here, in fact. So that was certainly a fun 9th inning. Andrew had a huge swing and obviously hit the ball pretty flush to right and took a pretty tough reliever out. And that's 5 runs against a pretty good back end of the bullpen that Sussex has.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go to the offense of this team, 83 home runs in 71 games is the top in the league by 13, I believe. You mentioned Andrew Check, who's been a mainstay with the franchise the last couple of years, but the top of the lineup with Caleb McNeely leading the league in home runs. You don't really see that from a guy that hits near, the leadoff spot time in and time again. But I want to ask about Tyreek Reed. 362 clips since he's become a Wild Thing. What has he kind of brought to the middle of this lineup and just being, a guy that can hit the crap out of the ball, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it's actually pretty unique. So he was with us at the beginning of the year, got hurt after a couple of weeks. So he missed pretty much the entire month of June. We activated him. I don't have the numbers in front of me for July, but we activated him on the 4th. And ever since then, the guy's just been nuts. At the plate. He's a former Red Sox farmhand, so the guy had some experience at the minor league level hitting home runs, and he was a pretty big-time prospect when he was in the minors. And obviously coming to here, we figured that would be a big bat in the middle of the lineup. And he's been, at least over the last month, it wasn't that he was bad in that first couple of weeks, but I felt like in the first couple of weeks he could have given us a lot more or closer to what he's been doing since he got activated on July 4th. And he's been crazy. There's power there. Obviously, there's not going to be a ton of speed. If you just look at Tyreek Reed, there's not going to be a ton of speed in there. But the guy can drive it to all parts of the field. He's what I like to call a professional hitter that doesn't mind just taking the sacrifice fly, moving a runner in from third or up to third on a ground ball to the right side. Just a guy that's going to go in and do his business. And there's a presence about him when he steps into the box. Our guys, our interns here in the press box always jag me because they're like, he walks into the box every single time during his walk-up song at the same point of the song. And it's kind of just an imposing figure that walks into the box, and you can get guys behind him that can swing it a little bit. They're going to see some better pitches because that guy is going to end up either on base or seeing good pitches and making guys work. So he's been a good blessing in disguise. For the first couple of weeks, and then since he got activated from the injured list, he's been awesome for us.
What's his walk-up song?
I don't even remember. I know off the top of my head. I want to say I had it searched up on Spotify the other day because we were playing it after the game the one night. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's no, that would be Goose and Brown. You would think I would know this by now. It is kind of nuts, though. He does legitimately walk into the box at the same time every single time he steps to the plate, which is crazy. And like the other day, he had an at-bat where it didn't really get started on time, so he kind of just hung out and waited. The pitch clock was going down and went in there. I want to say it's a Kanye song, but I don't remember what the name of it is. It's a good one. It's one of our favorite ones.
You don't want to, especially with the run he's been on, if he's got a set routine for it, you don't want to mess that up for sure.
Yeah, we don't want to mess anything up.
For the pitching staff, I want to go back to, you talked a little bit about the starting pitching and the bullpen as well. Looking up the numbers on the Wild Things this year, it just seems like a really well-balanced pitching staff. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, I don't think, and Tom Vaith, our manager, and we talk about this with Tony, our GM, all the time, like obviously a guy that you know. We talk about the pitching staff and what we're able to run out there all the time. I don't think that there's a team in this league that can run out 5 starters and have a legitimate chance to win every single time a starter goes out there. Kobe Foster, our ace, is one of the best guys in this league. He's been one of the best guys in this league for a handful of years now. Dario Frigio is pitching his ass off right now. He has come into his own. I think it's like 6 straight quality starts or something like that. Since a little bit of a rocky start for him. Zach Kirby's a guy that goes under the radar, but it's an all-star and is a top 5 ERA in the league right now. He's going to pitch tonight for us. And then Jordan DiValerio and Malik Barrington are 2 guys coming out of affiliated ball that we really haven't had in the organization's pitching staff in the last couple of years. And those guys at times have struggled. Jordan, obviously, if people were kind of tuned into what we're doing, was just named pitcher of the week last week. He had a CG shutout on Saturday where he faced just 1 over the minimum through 9 innings. So he was awesome. Malik's had his ups and downs, but when he's in the zone, his stuff is really effective. From a starting pitching standpoint, I just don't think that there's another team out there that can say, oh, my 5 is going to have 7 wins and an ERA in the 4s, and teams don't have that. So we really like what the starting pitching has given us. The bullpen's been good too, though. I think it is, to your point, very well balanced. The back end has been awesome. Kyungju Kim's a rookie who was supposed to be like arguably a 6th starter, the long man this year. That guy's an all-star in his rookie season and hasn't given up a run at home all year. He's been nuts. Alex Carrillo has been shaky at times, but that's a guy that we have a ton of confidence in. And that goes really up and down the pitching staff. There's not a guy out there. Nick McDonald's a guy that's only got 30-some innings. He's got an ERA at like 0.58. And that guy's not a back-end high-leverage guy for us. I mean, it's just been a real good season on the mound for us, which we really were itching for, because last year I think a lot of the struggles that we had, especially at the beginning of the year, our pitching just wasn't good enough and wasn't up to snuff. So that has certainly turned itself around this year, and that's the reason for those numbers on the pitching side being where they are in terms of what the league has done.
For you guys too, and I mean the Wild Things have sustained success in the Frontier League the last couple of years. And to do that, you kind of have to have your finger on the pulse as far as being able to scout talent that's available and acquire the right guys. And to be able to do that, GM Tony Buscilli's done a phenomenal job of that. But a couple of years ago, a change at manager with Tom Vaith, who you mentioned. What have you noticed in his couple of years since he's called Washington, PA his home and has, become the manager of the Wild Things? What have you noticed that maybe some changes that he's brought, philosophically to the clubhouse?
I think first and foremost, he's kind of a tough nut, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think that there's certainly a time and a place for lighthearted energy, and he certainly knows when that is and has brought that, whether it's on the bus or off the field. But when push comes to shove, the guy wants to win just as bad as any of us want to win in the office, or me or Tony or any of those guys in the clubhouse want to win. And that shows in the way that he carries himself. He can come off a little bit like a hard ass. At times, I think he knows that, and I think he accepts that, that he doesn't have to be friends with everybody. And when there's time for business, there's time for business. He's done a nice job. I mean, you can't really mistake with one losing season in the last 4, and this obviously is not going to be one this year. But the winning percentage is up there. It's like near 600 already. For his tenure as the Wild Things manager, he's second all time in managerial wins for us. And he's closing in another 30 or so, I think, as he's away from John Massarelli, who's our all-time leading manager. But from a culture standpoint, I think it's just a little bit different than what Greg Langben, our former manager, at least the last one, would have been able to describe. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think guys come in here with a high expectation. We bring guys in here that want to win. We bring guys in here who want to be a part of what we're trying to do. And obviously that's going to rub some people the wrong way if it's a little bit too, I don't really know what word I'm looking for, but if it's a little bit too not lighthearted, is probably the best way I can put it, then that's going to rub some guys the wrong way, and they're not going to want to come and play here. But you know what? Frankly, if they're not, in it for winning and in it for the right reasons, we don't really want them here, to be honest. And that's, I think that's just kind of the culture we've created over the last several years. We have high expectations here, and we've had high expectations ever since the organization started. But losing isn't acceptable to us. Tony and I are two of the most competitive people in this league, and we do not like losing. Even little games here and there where things get thrown or things get punched because we're upset with the performance. But fortunately, there's been a lot less of that this year with a 49-22 record.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me that. I was your intern during the worst record in franchise history. I know how much you guys don't like losing. Year 7 for you behind the mic? Am I correct? 2018 or 2017?
18, 19, 20, 7 if you count the COVID year. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for you, obviously, the play-by-play duties and all of the media duties that come with that. But the last couple of years, you've added assistant general manager to your title. So I know I was very happy for you when that happened. So talk a little bit about how the role in the organization changed for you when that happened as well.
It's been a lot different, I think, over the last, I'd say 1 or 2, maybe 3 years. I've started to dive into the baseball ops side of things. I'm handling all our contracts now. Our disposition forms all go through me, whether it's releases or trades or whatever have you. I mean, Tony has to approve them and sign them, but I'm managing all of those. Travel is up to me. The busing company's up to me. Hotels are up to me. Little things like that on the baseball operations side. I think just purely from an executive standpoint, things have gotten a lot different. I have to kind of be tuned into, and not that I wasn't before, but I'm a lot more tuned in now to ticket sales. I'm a lot more tuned in now to what we're doing sponsorship wise and the entire product rather than just the on the field or the media product that is happening. So that's been a significant change for me. And it's always probably going to take a backseat on a daily basis to the game notes and things I'm doing from a media side. And that's just because I've built up a little bit of a reputation in the league is in terms of what we do from a media side. So I mean, it's definitely been a lot different in the last couple of years. It's not anything that I don't think I can handle. So that's been nice too. And I've always had even before I was picked broadcasting as a major, I had always had the eye to do something in sport management and kind of be in a front office for a baseball team. So that's not something that has been a not welcome surprise for me.
Yeah, you talk about having a finger on the pulse with what you guys are doing at the ballpark and what that entails as far as your job. 20-some games left. If anybody in the Ohio Valley wants to get out and see some baseball, some league contending baseball, what can they expect from Wild Things Park
Well,
through the back half of the season?
yeah, at least in the regular season, they can still expect our usual show, and obviously we're going to probably still do a lot of that in the postseason. I've always, as a baseball guy, argued that the playoffs should be focused on just the game, but that's not
Yep.
kind of who we are here in Washington. So, yeah, I mean, they can obviously expect good baseball. I mean, I don't expect anything to change from that standpoint on the field the rest of the year. I know our guys are giddy. Our guys are anxious to clinch the playoffs, and they want to do it at home, and they want to clinch a division championship here, and they want to help us bring a championship to Washington. Those guys are giddy in that clubhouse, even just from daily conversations with them, and they're excited for the opportunity here that they have in front of them. But from an entertainment standpoint, you're not going to beat us in the Ohio Valley, in this tri-state area. You're not going to beat our prices. All respect, I'm a Pirates fan, so I get people wanting to go up and see Paul Skeens and those guys, but you're not going to beat us from a price or an entertainment standpoint. No disrespect to what anybody else is doing, but we're giving you 3 hours of entertainment here for the amount of price that you're going to pay for one ticket at the movie theater. You're going to pay for a family of 4. You can get a lot better of a deal here, and we think give you more entertainment than the movie theater can, or go into if you're 21 and older, go into the casino can, or whatever. And you're not going to lose money when you're here.
Yep.
You will if you spend it, but that type of deal. So yeah, I mean, we have some good promotions coming up still. Obviously, our weekly stuff is still going on, whether that's the Senior Slugger program, which on Wednesdays gives a free ticket to all fans 50 and older. There's dollar hot dogs those nights. The Brew Crew from ages 21 to 30 on Thursdays is a free ticket, and dollar drafts. Obviously, we want you to be safe and not an idiot when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, those promotions are going on. Still have fireworks on the schedule, a couple giveaways left on the schedule, and some kids' days left on the schedule that are kids 12 and under get in for free, and they eat for free too. You really can't beat that. Kid normally a $10 ticket. Hot dog, chips, and a drink is probably going to run you 10 or 12 bucks on a nightly basis, and that's all free on Sundays too. So that's a good value, and obviously you're going to get the big show, our stuff between innings that Stephanie Keller, our other vice president, does a tremendous job with. The mascot's tremendous here for the kids and people just in general. If you're a baseball fan, if you're not a baseball fan, we've got a little bit of everything for you here. So obviously we want the baseball fans here at the end of the season for this playoff push. We want them here in the playoffs, but even if it's just for the entertainment aspect, you're not going to beat our prices, and you're not going to beat the entertainment value that we can give you.
Last question I have for you, Kyle. I mean, you talked about it a little bit as well. Bearing anything like unbelievably catastrophic, this team is poised for a playoff push. And despite the success and the recent success in the franchise's history, still have yet to claim that Frontier League championship title. I know you guys feel that pain and from an front office standpoint, but some of these players that are newer to the team, do they understand kind of, what's at stake?
I hope so, because I tell them every chance I get, I point my ring finger at them, and I'm like, one of these, I need a ring. I need a ring on this finger. This is another good chance that we have. Yeah, I think they get it. And I think they all want to win anyway. But they come in and they get told, Tom's pretty upfront with them. The mission is to get a ring on your finger. It's to get a ring on my finger. It's to get a ring on Stu Williams' finger, our owner, or Franny, our owner. To get a ring on the front office, people's fingers who, we work so hard up in that front office. And there's several of us that have been here long enough and have been through the 2018 championship series loss, the 2021 championship series loss, and the 2022 exit in the first round, exit in the first round in 2017. And we've been here long enough, and our CEO, Chris, has been here through it all, and we've been to the championship 5 times and not won one yet. So I think they get it. And if they don't get it, they better get to getting it before the regular season comes to an end, because this team and this franchise, and I think this fan base, is itching for a championship. And the second we get that, all of that kind of bad feeling goes away, and we can kind of push forward and continue to chase them.
Kyle Dawson, assistant GM, play-by-play voice of the Washington Wild Things. Kyle, good luck the rest of the way, and hopefully we're planning on getting to a championship clinching game here soon, man. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem, Jack. Thanks for having me.